We are always told that being kind is the greatest thing you can be. We are told to give, to help, and to be there for others. But what happens when your kindness becomes a candle that burns so bright for others that it leaves you in total darkness? Today, I want to tell you the story of a man who spent his whole life fixing everyone else's world, only to realize that his own world had completely fallen apart. In a quiet town where everyone knew each other's names, lived a man named Arthur. Arthur was the kind of person you couldn't help but love. He had a gentle smile that reached his eyes and hands that were always ready to work. He didn't have much money, but he had something more valuable: time. If a neighbor's roof was leaking, Arthur was the first one on the ladder. If a widow needed her groceries carried, Arthur was there before she could even ask. He was the town's unsung hero. His phone never stopped ringing. "Arthur, can you help me move?" "Arthur, my car won't start." "Arthur, can you watch my kids for an hour?" And Arthur always said the same thing: "Of course, I'll be right there." He felt a deep sense of pride in being needed. It made him feel important. It made him feel like he had a purpose. But behind that helpful smile, Arthur was hiding a secret. He was exhausted. While he was fixing his neighbor's fence, his own garden was becoming overgrown with weeds. While he was listening to his friends vent about their problems for hours, he had no one to listen to his own silent struggles. He was so busy being the strong one for everybody else that he forgot he was allowed to be weak too. Years went by, and the weight of everyone else's lives began to crush Arthur's spirit. He started waking up feeling heavy, like he hadn't slept at all. He wanted to say no just once. He wanted to stay in bed and read a book or just sit in the silence of his own home. But whenever the phone rang, a voice in his head said, "If you don't help them, who will? If you say no, they won't like you anymore." He became a stranger in his own life. He stopped enjoying his hobbies. He used to love painting, but his brushes had dried up and were covered in dust because he was always too busy painting someone else's house or helping someone else's business. His health started to fade. He had a constant ache in his back and a fog in his mind that wouldn't go away. The worst part was that the people he helped started to take him for granted. They didn't ask, "How are you, Arthur?" anymore. They only asked, "Can you do this for me, Arthur?" He wasn't a friend to them anymore. He was a tool that never broke, or so they thought. One evening, Arthur was helping a friend move heavy furniture. It was a hot day, and he hadn't eaten properly. As he lifted a heavy wooden chest, his vision blurred. His heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird. He collapsed. When Arthur woke up, he wasn't in his own bed. He was in a hospital room. The silence was deafening. He looked at his phone on the side table. For the first time in years, it wasn't ringing. He waited 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. He expected the people he had spent his life serving to be standing outside the door, worried, sick. But only one person came. It was an old woman named Clara, a neighbor he had helped once, years ago. By simply fixing her broken spectacles, she sat by his bed and held his hand. "Arthur," she whispered, "you look so tired." Arthur started to cry. Not a loud cry, but a quiet, painful release of years of suppressed exhaustion. "I've done everything for them, Clara," he sobbed. "I gave them my time, my strength, my whole life. And now that I'm here, where are they?" Clara looked at him with sad, wise eyes. "Arthur, you spent so much time building bridges for others that you forgot to build a home for yourself. You taught them that your time has no value because you gave it away for free, even when you had nothing left to give." That was the moment the truth hit him like a cold wave. He hadn't been kind to himself. He had been a martyr. He realized that by saying yes to everyone else, he had been saying no to his own soul for 20 years. It took Arthur a long time to recover. But when he left that hospital, he was a different man. He went home and did something he had never done before. He turned off his phone. He spent the first week just sitting in his garden, pulling the weeds that had taken over his own life. He found his old brushes, cleaned the dust off, and started to paint again. When people eventually called or knocked on his door with their usual demands, Arthur did the unthinkable. He smiled gently and said, "I'm sorry, I can't help you today. I'm busy taking care of myself." Some people got angry. Some stopped calling altogether. But the true friends, the ones who actually cared, they stayed. They learned to respect his boundaries. Arthur realized that he didn't need to be a hero to be loved. He just needed to be a human. My friends, listen to me carefully. Are you an Arthur? Are you the one everyone leans on? The one who fixes the problems? Who stays late? Who listens to the drama? And who never says, "I'm tired"? Kindness is a beautiful gift, but it should be a well that you draw from, not a hole you dig for yourself. If you give until you are empty, you are no use to anyone, especially not to yourself. Remember, no is a complete sentence. Setting boundaries isn't being selfish. It's being responsible for the one life you were actually given to manage, yours. Don't wait for a hospital bed to realize that you matter too. Check on your strong friends, but more importantly, check on yourself. Fill your own cup first, so that you can give from the overflow, not from the bottom of an empty barrel. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Go back and find the you that you lost while trying to save everyone else. He's still there, waiting for you to bring him home.